Hey everyone, welcome back to Speak More Fluently. You know how it is. You're out there, you understand English. Maybe you can even read a book or watch a movie without subtitles.
But then,
But then, the moment comes to actually speak,
yeah.
and it's like hitting a wall.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Been there. Like, your brain just freezes up.
Totally.
Yeah.
Or maybe you can speak, but it's not very confident. You
Yeah.
know, it's not how you want to sound.
Right. You want to be able to really connect with people, express yourself fully.
Exactly. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're talking about a technique that can honestly, truly, rapidly make a difference in your speaking skills.
Rapidly.
Rapidly. And it's not about cramming grammar rules or anything like that. It's something much more
Active.
active. There you go.
Yeah.
Something you can start using right away.
Love that. So, what's the secret weapon we're talking about today?
Well, let's be honest.
Hmm.
It's not really a secret. But it's so powerful that it kind of feels like one. We're talking about interactive role-playing.
Ah, role-playing. Sounds like fun and games, but there's some serious learning power there.
Absolutely. So picture this. Instead of just like passively reading a dialogue in a textbook.
Which can feel so removed from reality.
So removed, you actually become part of the conversation.
Oh, I get it. Like you step into a mini scene from everyday life.
Exactly. Imagine yourself, I don't know, ordering a coffee
Okay, yeah.
or checking into a hotel or even doing a job interview, but in a safe practice environment.
I love that. So it's like bridging the gap between knowing the language and actually using it.
It's exactly that. It's that bridge that takes you from theory to real-world application.
Because let's be real, knowing grammar rules is one thing,
One thing.
but being able to smoothly use them when you're actually talking to someone,
That's a whole other ballgame.
it is. That's why this idea of role-playing is so brilliant for building fluency. You're basically getting real-life practice.
Real-life practice, but without the pressure.
Right, like a rehearsal for real-world conversations, which, let's face it,
It could be terrifying.
oh, especially in a new language. But with role-playing, you get to practice those everyday situations.
In a safe space where it's okay to make mistakes.
Because, let's be honest, mistakes are inevitable when you're learning.
Absolutely. And actually, they're super valuable. Think about it. When you make a mistake in a role play.
You get to figure out why, get feedback, and try again.
Exactly. And you do all of that without the fear of, messing up in a real conversation.
It takes the pressure off, and that can do wonders for your confidence.
Huge for confidence. And it's not just about speaking either. Role-playing is amazing for improving your listening skills.
Oh, absolutely. You have to be so tuned in to what the other person is saying.
Because you need to respond appropriately.
Right. It's like active listening on steroids. You can't just passively listen. You have to process and react in real time.
It's like a workout for your ears.
Totally. And you know what else is great about role-playing?
Tell me.
It makes learning vocabulary and grammar so much more, well, fun.
Oh, definitely. Because instead of just memorizing words and rules, you're actually using them.
In context, you're seeing how they work in a real situation.
And that makes a world of difference. It helps the language stick in your memory so much better.
Agreed. It's like the difference between reading about how to bake a cake and actually getting your hands dirty and baking one.
The perfect analogy. And let's not forget, role-playing also helps with that very important thing we mentioned earlier, confidence.
Right, because you're practicing, you're getting more comfortable, and you start to feel more prepared for real-life conversations.
Even if those conversations don't go exactly as you planned in the role play.
You've still got that experience to draw on.
And that experience makes you so much less likely to freeze up or panic.
Plus, role-playing is great for developing flexibility. Real conversations rarely follow a script, right?
Never. They go all over the place.
Exactly. So when you role-play, especially if you introduce some unexpected element,
Which we'll talk about later.
you learn to think on your feet and adapt to different conversational turns.
And that adaptability is a huge part of what makes you a more fluent and confident speaker.
It shows you're not just relying on memorized phrases. You're truly engaging and responding naturally.
So hopefully by now you're seeing the amazing potential of role-playing. There's always a but.
How do you actually get started with it?
Well, the first step is probably the easiest.
Yeah.
Choose a scenario.
Okay. Choose a scenario. Sounds simple enough, but how do you choose a good one?
I'd say think about situations that are either relevant to your own life.
Like something you actually encounter regularly.
Exactly. Or situations that you find interesting, even if they're not something you do every day.
I like that. So it could be something as simple as, what was your example earlier? Ordering a coffee?
Perfect example.
Or
Or it could be something a little more complex,
Yeah.
like resolving a disagreement with a coworker.
Okay, yeah, I see the difference. So relevance or interest. Those are the keys.
Exactly. And once you've got your scenario,
What then?
then it's helpful to define the roles. So going back to the toffee shop example.
You'd have the barista and the customer.
Right. And assigning those roles, even if you're practicing by yourself,
Helps to create a structure.
it does. And don't be afraid to switch roles, playing both sides of the conversation.
Can be really eye-opening.
It is. It helps you see the situation from multiple perspectives.
And it makes you think about the language you'd use in each role.
Now, when you're first starting out with role-playing, it can be helpful to have a little something to guide you.
Like a script.
Yeah, a script, or even just a few key phrases you want to use. But the goal is to move away from that as you get more comfortable.
So start with a bit of structure
Then gradually transition to more improvisation.
to make it feel more like a real conversation.
Exactly. And before you even begin the role play, set some clear objectives for yourself.
Objectives, like what?
Like, what do you want to focus on during this practice session? Do you want to work on specific vocabulary?
Oh, yeah, vocab.
Or maybe you want to pay extra attention to your pronunciation.
I see. So having that specific goal in mind helps you stay focused.
It does. And after each role play,
This is important.
take a moment to reflect.
Huh.
Think about how it went. What felt easy? What was challenging?
And if you're practicing with someone,
Give each other feedback.
honest, constructive feedback.
That's where a lot of the learning magic happens.
So we've covered the basics of getting started, but let's get creative, shall we? How can we make these role plays even more engaging?
Oh, I love this part. My favorite tip. Use prompts.
Props, like in a play.
Exactly.
Yep.
If you're practicing a shopping scenario,
Yeah.
grab some actual items.
Ah, I get it. So if you're talking about buying clothes,
Hold up a shirt, a pair of shoes.
it makes it feel so much more real.
It really does. It helps you connect the language with the actual objects.
And that can make it more memorable, too.
Absolutely. Another great tip. Use technology.
Technology.
You think video calls, online tools. You can practice with people from all over the world.
Oh, wow. So you could practice ordering food in a restaurant.
With someone who's actually in a different country.
That's amazing. You get exposure to different accents, different ways of speaking.
And you can even find apps and websites specifically designed for language role-playing.
Cool. So lots of options there. What else?
Well, don't be afraid to start simple and gradually increase the complexity of your role plays.
So start with those everyday conversations.
Like ordering coffee,
Then work your way up to more challenging situations.
like negotiating a salary or giving a presentation.
I like that. It's like leveling up in a game.
Exactly. And here's another fun tip. Throw in some curveballs,
Curveballs.
unexpected twists. Just like in real life, conversations don't always go as planned.
Oh, no.
So in your role plays, imagine the topic suddenly changes
Or someone interrupts you.
or a problem arises that you need to solve.
That's brilliant. It forces you to think on your feet and really use your language skills.
And it makes the role play much more dynamic and engaging.
Okay, I'm loving all these tips. Any more?
One more that's super helpful. Record yourself.
Record. Isn't that a bit awkward?
It might feel strange at first, but trust me, listening to a recording of yourself,
Helps you notice things you might not have realized you were doing.
like, are you speaking too fast?
Or too quietly.
Are you using filler words like and a lot?
Wow, yeah. Recording yourself can really help you pinpoint areas to improve.
And finally, don't underestimate the power of peer feedback.
Feedback from other people.
Yes, if you're practicing with a partner, ask them for their honest opinions.
What do they think you did well? What could you improve?
Sometimes other people can see things that we miss ourselves.
Makes sense. Okay, so we've talked about how to get started with role-playing and how to make it more effective, but can you give us some specific scenarios to try out?
Absolutely. So we've talked about ordering at a restaurant a few times.
Classic for a reason.
It's perfect for practicing greetings, making requests, dealing with numbers and prices.
And it's a situation almost everyone encounters in real life.
Another great one. Job interviews.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
Prepare some common interview questions. Practice your answers. It can really boost your confidence for the real deal.
And you can tailor it to your specific field,
Exactly. And how about travel conversations?
like asking for directions or booking a hotel room.
Super useful, especially if you're planning a trip.
And you can practice using specific travel vocabulary and phrases.
Then there's shopping. which is great for practicing everyday conversational English.
Asking about prices, comparing products.
Maybe even trying to haggle a little.
And finally, while we hope you never need to use it, practicing emergency situations can be really valuable.
Like calling for help, explaining an emergency.
It helps you stay calm and communicate clearly under pressure.
Now, of course, we know there might be some challenges along the way, like
What if you're afraid of making mistakes?
it's totally normal to feel that way.
Yeah.
But remember, mistakes are part of the process.
They're how you learn and grow.
Focus on the progress you're making, not on being perfect.
Another challenge could be,
Feeling like you don't have enough vocabulary.
right, what if you don't know the exact words you need?
Well, try using synonyms or descriptive phrases.
Like if you don't know the word delicious.
You could say, it tastes really good,
Mm.
or it's full of flavor.
Right. And the more you practice, the more vocabulary you'll naturally pick up.
And if you find yourself feeling nervous,
Which is totally understandable.
try to practice in a supportive environment.
Maybe with a friend or a language partner who makes you feel comfortable.
And don't forget to breathe.
Deep breaths can really help calm your nerves.
Now, one final challenge you might encounter is
Finding the balance between structure and spontaneity.
exactly. It's good to have a plan,
Like a script or an outline.
but don't be afraid to deviate from it.
Let the conversation flow naturally.
That's what makes it feel real.
So to wrap things up, do you have any final tips for maximizing the benefits of role-playing?
Absolutely. First and foremost, be consistent.
Yeah.
Even short, regular practice sessions are more effective than sporadic, longer ones.
To make it a habit.
And mix things up. Don't be afraid to try different scenarios and different roles.
Keep it fresh and interesting.
Also, pay attention to cultural nuances. How people communicate can vary depending on the culture.
Right. Different cultures have different ways of saying things.
So do a little research. Be mindful and respectful.
And embrace technology.
There are so many apps and websites that can help you with role-playing.
Use them to find new scenarios, connect with other learners,
The possibilities are endless.
and perhaps, most importantly, remember to actively listen.
Don't just wait for your turn to speak.
Really pay attention to what the other person is saying.
And respond in a thoughtful, meaningful way.
That's what makes a conversation truly engaging.
And lastly, take a moment to reflect after each role-play. Think about what you learned, what you did well, and what you could improve.
It's a great way to track your progress and stay motivated.
So, there you have it, a deep dive into the power of interactive role-playing for boosting your speaking fluency and confidence. We encourage you to give it a try and see the difference it can make.
You might be surprised at how much fun you have while learning.
And on that note, here's a challenge for you. Think about the next English conversation you're going to have. It could be anything, big or small. Now, in your mind, try to rehearse it as a mini role play. Imagine the situation, what the other person might say, and how you would respond. See how this mental preparation affects your confidence and how the actual conversation flows.
It's a simple but powerful exercise.
Thanks for joining us on Speak More Fluently. We'll see you next time.